Hello, friends and family, strangers and acquaintances, my future children, and my future self. Yes, you can see me. This is a video podcast, the first of hopefully many, but I can't guarantee that the upcoming episodes will be video podcasts. This is kind of a special deal because if you're seeing this, it is my 28th birthday. But it is not just my birthday, it is this podcast's birthday. Yes, it is officially 1 year since I started Juandering. And this I am trying to do something where I don't want to edit this as much as possible. Hopefully not at all. I'm trying to be a little bit better about not being such a perfectionist at times. Because I obviously there's a difference between overanalyzing and being a super hyper perfectionist versus, wanting your work, your creations to be at a certain standard. And, I'm trying to not be as nitpicky, not be as perfectionistic. You're gonna see mistakes, things like that. I might cut out dead space if it's really long, if I take a really long pause, but as much as possible, I'm trying to keep pretty much everything in so you can see a very raw version of me as much as you can. You're probably wondering, where are you, Juan? I am in my car. It is late at night and I am recording by myself. So no Lex, but please don't click away. I know half of you may have already did because let's be honest, she's the real star of the show. But I kind of just wanted to start it how I started it a year ago with just myself. I just want to quickly address that, yes, I haven't forgotten about the Twilight episodes. They are slowly but surely coming. The Eclipse podcast has been recorded, but I have just had no time to edit. Plus, editing the podcast takes me the longest out of any creative work that I do. So that, is one of the reasons why there is a delay in those coming out. A whole nother reason I'll get into maybe later is my family went away to the Philippines for a month, and I had to dog watch our family dog. Shout out Julius, love you. And I basically had to run the house, my parents' house, the house that I grew up in, which was fine. But I really had to rework my life for a month basically. So, doing creative things, that a lot of things took a hit. So, yeah. So the Twilight episodes are still coming. I wish I could have gotten them out before doing this, but oh well. You'll have to excuse me if I'm looking over here. It's because I have my phone and I've got a few notes. Normally, again, being a perfectionist, I like to have stuff almost, I'm just going to say scripted because, I have kind of figured out that I am not the best speaker verbally. Verbalizing my thoughts can be hard if I don't have enough time to try to process everything, which is so funny because I've done public speaking. I've taken public speaking classes. I've actually at my community college I won a public speaking competition. But obviously there's a difference between public speaking, impromptu speaking, speaking in this kind of intimate format where it's just me, a microphone, and the camera, and I'm, in my car alone. So yeah, I I've learned a lot about me this past year, and that's kind of what I want this episode to be focused on. The past year, maybe some of the highlights, maybe some of the lowlights, things I've learned, things I want to reflect back on. So yeah, I don't I the list I have isn't particularly organized. Just kind of what I did to figure out what happened throughout the year was I just went in my phone's camera roll, and then I just looked for notable events. So, got a new phone. That was exciting. I upgraded from the iPhone 8 Plus to the iPhone 13 Pro, and it was just time because my phone was cracked and really starting to lag behind. And yeah, I have been trying to hold on to that damn home button for as long as I could. Just, I don't know. I liked it. I thought the 8 Plus was great. But now I have the 13 Pro, which is what I'm reading my notes off of, and it's awesome. Did I get the 13 instead of the 14 just because I like the number 13 more? That's up for you to decide. But, yeah. I'm enjoying the 13 Pro. What else? The next thing I have on my list is the Eagles won the Super Bowl. So I'm from South Jersey, and the part that's like 30 minutes away from Philly. So, I mean, I grew up as an Eagles fan. I'm not big into football, but it's funny. So I went to private school for the first few grades, up until like 6th grade, and we had like the main priest guy. His name was Father Mike. He was a big Eagles fan, and so were a lot of my classmates. And I just wanted to feel, connected. I wanted to be a part of the group. So I was like, oh yeah, they like Eagles, I like Eagles. Let's go Eagles. And so that's how I became an Eagles fan. I use the term fan lightly. I am not afraid to say I am a bandwagoner. When they're not doing great, I'm just like, eh. But when they are doing great, I'm just like, let's go birds, I try not I understand the stigma around Eagles fans, and I try not to be. I'm not an obnoxious Eagles fan. I hope I'm not. I just cheer when they're winning, and when they're not, I'm just like, better luck next year. So, but I will say, when they won the Super Bowl the first time, man, what a story, what a season. I got emotional. I wish I was working that night. I worked as a delivery driver for Domino's, and I was just listening to the updates on the radio, so I didn't actually watch the Super Bowl. That was like maybe like one of the only years that I hadn't watched it, and I am kicking myself. I was like, why didn't I watch it? The Eagles are playing. Why am I working? But yeah. And then now when the Eagles went back to Super Bowl and I actually sat down and watched it, it was a great game. I'll say that. It was a great game from both sides. I don't think any side, well, really the Eagles, have any, they should not be disappointed because they gave us a great game. I know there was a controversial ref call, but in the end, it is what it is, and I have a lot of respect for both teams. So, yeah, go Birds. Next thing I have on my list is it just says Hot Ones, and this was actually for Lex's birthday. If you're not familiar with the show, there's a show on YouTube called Hot Ones, where the host Sean Evans invites a lot of like celebrities and like public figures to. It's like a normal interview format, except you're eating hot wings that are getting progressively hotter and hotter. and it's just entertaining to see who can handle the heat and who can't. And it's super entertaining, especially like when they're trying to handle the heat and Sean just keeps asking questions and they're just like, "You're still going? What the heck?" That's super funny. But why I have hot ones written down is because we bought all the sauces for, I'm not entirely sure which season it was. 17 is sticking out in my mind. Season 17 maybe. We bought all 10 sauces and we tried them. Lex, myself, and a group of buddies. Jeff, if you remember from a few episodes ago, he was one of them. We all tried them together to see how long, or not how long, but like how far we could go. And let's let's just say, you can see it on my TikTok. I made a TikTok out of it, but let's just say the bomb more than lived up to its hype for me. I'd just say after that, I couldn't. I was dying. I was crying. It was bad. It was really bad. I could not. I could not handle heat after that. I eventually got around to doing it a second time for, I think, her brother's birthday, and I pushed myself to go past the bomb because the bomb is number 8 in the line. So there's, out of 10 sauces, it was number 8. And then number 9 and 10 are the two hottest sauces. So it goes from least hot to most hot. And yeah, the bomb was number 8. And, I pushed myself past it. And let's just say I only ever want to do that if like it's a special occasion. I'm not I'm not doing this again just as a hobby. But I will say, though, it has built up a tolerance in me for spicy foods. Okay, so sorry about that. Definitely had to edit that. Both my batteries in my audio recorder died, and I had to reset the camera. But we're back. I think the last thing I was talking about was hot ones. And I think I was talking about how, like, I just couldn't handle the bomb number 8. After that, it was just, the hype is real. That killed me. I had some things, like I had bread, I had ranch, and I think I had a smoothie ready to go to, like, if anything ever got too hot. And so far up until then, all the other sauces were like I could cut the heat with that. But this is where the bomb just like cut through all that. Like nothing was stopping it. The only thing that really worked was like a smoothie that I had, and oh man, it just cut through everything. There's no stopping the bomb. So, but yeah, I built a tolerance in the process, and now I'm not as scared of spicy foods. So at least there's that. So highly recommend trying it if you get the chance, especially if you are a little adverse to spicy foods, but you want to get better. This is a good way to dive headfirst into seeing where your tolerance is and seeing how it evolves afterwards. Oh, but the morning after, just prep your bathroom. It's gonna be a fun time. So anyway, what else? The next thing I have is I got COVID, and I think we did a whole episode on that, and like how like we had, because I say we, because both Lex and I got it at the same time. Really, I gave it to her, but yeah, we had avoided it for most of the pandemic. And when we did get it, I was very, very thankful that both her and I were vaccinated. We were boosted, because that probably negated a lot of potential side effects that could have came up if we weren't vaccinated. And I know that's a controversial issue, but I don't give a fuck. Get vaccinated. Um, or not. That's, it's your choice, but I mean, choices have consequences, so you do you, but also accept the consequences that may or may not come. So anyway, I don't want to I don't want to linger on that too much. Let's move on. And this is a little bit more of a fun one. Finding money on the ground. I don't know what it was about the year 2022 in particular, but I found more money, more like cash bills on the ground than I had ever found in my life just in the year 2022. Did I say 2020 earlier? I meant 2022. Anyway, yeah, I had never probably found more than like $1 on the ground at one time. Maybe 5 was like my personal record before, but I found a $20 bill like kind of like rolled up into like a little roll, like a blunt. um but yeah, it was just on the ground, and I was just like, and this is like towards the end of the year, and I was like, what is going on? This year is absolutely crazy. Like, oh, I got so lucky with finding cash on the ground. I don't know what it was, but it was just my lucky year probably. Next thing I have is Stranger Things. That's because like I fucking loved. Was it season 4? Yeah, of Stranger Things. Oh my god, it was so good. Like, I had already liked the show a lot, but this brought Stranger Things to a whole new level. For Halloween, I was Eddie Munson. I'll probably try to throw up some pictures here. And for those who don't know, I can show it on camera. Wait, might not pick it up well. I have a Stranger Things tattoo. It is the number 13, in the style of like 11's tattoo. So I'm ready to make the joke if I ever meet Millie Bobby Brown. I'm ready to make the joke. I am your older brother, because I'm older than her in real life, but in the number sequence, I'm younger. So, Millie, if you're out there, let's get strange together. What else? Oh, and I gotta shout out, obviously, like Running Up That Hill. Oh, how that song just blew up. Oh, and it's a great song too. When I first listened to it, I was just like, all right, it's a decent song, but now I love it. When I hear it on the radio, I get so pumped. I'm like, if only could make a deal with God, get on the swap our places. Oh, I love it. I jam out to it so much. And also like the the Shmoyo Bros. I don't even know if they're bros, but they made the song "Chrissy Wake Up." It is literally my wake up alarm. Chrissy, wake up! I don't like this. Oh my god, just the cultural impact that Stranger Things had that year, this year. Well, the past year. So good, so good. Like, it's getting up there for top TV shows of all time for me, for my favorites. I think this might be a hot take. I think it's better than Game of Thrones. Sorry, Jeff. The real test is if it's going to be better than Breaking Bad. We'll see. We'll see how it ends, season 5. All right, let's move on. Next thing on my list is GoPro volleyball vids. So I mentioned it before. I play volleyball, and I recently got a GoPro, and I got a head strap for it, and I started making like POV vids, and I really enjoy making them, because I think I myself personally enjoy watching volleyball POVs, and to be able to see mine, be able to rewatch gameplay, like from the league that I play in, and then the open gyms that I also play in, is it's really cool. I have a separate channel for that. It's called Volleyballin', emphasis on the all in. Get it? And yeah, you should check it out. I'll link it in the description if you're into that. If not, that's cool. That's cool too. Um, Next thing I have is The Wedding Singer, and I think that's just because Lex and I, we saw The Wedding Singer in my hometown theater, and that was really great. I obviously got very, very emotional many times because I just love the show, and I think the part I remember getting really emotional is when like they brought out the seniors to, just say a few words, and there was a moment where I realized, I was like, oh man, I was a senior when I did The Wedding Singer. I mean, I knew that, but like seeing those seniors come out and like, give their spiel, like it just brought something out of me that could only be expressed through bawling tears. So, next thing I want to list is shaving Lex's hair. So if you don't know, Lex shaved her hair completely, buzzed it shorter than mine, and that was really cool because she says she's never had it that short before. She's always had medium to long hair, and I've always known her as having like medium to long hair. But she wanted to do it. She wanted to have that nice reset and see what it's like, and she was like, if hair, it'll grow back if you don't like it. So, but it turns out she really, really likes it, and so do I. When it got to a point where it was long enough where I could like cut the sides and like keep the front and top longer, kind of like how I have my hair, honestly. She has been rocking that hairstyle, and it has looked so good on her. Did I mention I was the one who actually shaved her head? Like I had the clippers in my hands, and I was like buzzing her. So yeah, I actually do have footage of that. When I did that, I I put on the GoPro on my head, and I got my POV of doing shaving her head. I don't know. I have it saved as a TikTok draft, and I wanted to post it after I'd taken like some nice photos of Lex's new hair, but I just never got around to doing those photos, and then I just forgot about the draft, and it just never was released. But maybe I'll release it soon. So, because it's so far in the past now that doesn't matter. But anyway, so that's something cool that happened. Oh, the next thing on the list is it's just as Eddie Munson, and I think that goes along with the fact that I dressed up as Eddie Munson for Halloween. I keep slapping my leg. I'm sorry if you keep hearing that. It's I don't know why I do it. There you go. Sorry if that's annoying. But yeah, I dressed up as Eddie Munson for Halloween. I got a wig, got his Hellfire Club shirt, threw on a leather jacket, and boom, I am Eddie Munson. So, and then next thing I have on my list is it just says EAS, which stands for EA Sports. It's in the game. No, it actually doesn't stand for that. I did not. I just came up with that like a second ago. I was gonna make a joke, and I didn't realize that EA Sports, it actually fit in with the acronym. Anyway, it stands for Emergency something services. And what that is a short film I did with my good friend Ricardo Segura, who I still want to have on the podcast as a guest. But I actually kind of want his wife to be a guest first, just because she's a big Twilight fan, and I've been toying around asking to see if she wants to even like do the podcast to talk about Twilight. Um, I know Rick wouldn't, or maybe he would, but he has a more, let's just say, normal take on Twilight. um, quote unquote, obviously air quotes, but yeah, Britt, if you're listening and you want to talk Twilight with Lex and me, feel free. Let me know, or I'll reach out to you. Anyway, back to, yeah, sorry that kind of digressed a little bit. Yeah, we did a short film, and it's like, it was like horror suspense, and we filmed it all in one night, and it was just me and him, 2-man crew. We were at his house, and I think, I don't know, it's every short we do, I get more and more excited because we're both growing, him as an actor and me as like a filmmaker, editor, producer, whatever you want to call it. 1-man crew, all in one. And I don't know, we just keep getting better and better, and we keep making magic. And that's why I love working with him. I love working with you, Rick. Rick, if you're listening, if you're watching, I love you, brother. Okay. And so the last thing I have is mental health. And I just got really nervous all of a sudden. I've learned a lot about myself. I think it really stems from having a great partner like Lex. I think she makes me comfortable enough to be vulnerable with myself, even if I can't like express that in the moment. I have to burp. I'm so sorry. I don't know if that's gonna make it in. We'll see. Fuck, what was I talking about? I guess this is appropriate because, speaking of mental health, I am all but convinced. No, I am convinced through TikTok that I probably have undiagnosed ADHD. For many reasons, and I can't I can't even like go through the list of reasons why I think I do have it. Just because like I feel like I'm just going to describe things that like maybe everyone experiences, like walking into a room and forgetting why you walked in there. Like I feel like that's a pretty normal experience. I don't know if that's ADHD inclusive or exclusive, but sorry, this is very much where my mind is starting to fog a little bit. And my thoughts are a jumbled mess. This is why I've recognized that I'd like to have my thoughts organized in some written form, whether that's like my like notes app or maybe even writing it down. Because they can get, I can get so scrambled, so scatterbrained, I guess. And like that frustrates me because I feel like I'm not effectively getting my point across, or I feel like I'm losing the interest of anyone listening. I fear people being like, okay, come on, get on with it, spit it out. When like I'm so I'm struggling to like keep it together in my mind. But then also like just me like describing this, I feel like mm, I don't know. I also have a lot of like imposter syndrome. Um like I feel like even something like that, it's like I have to prove if I really have like ADHD, like there's like do I like meet all the criteria? Anyway, I'm um I'm falling apart a little bit right now. But I want to stay true to me giving you a very raw version of me. And oh, I just know when I go to edit this, I'm going to want to cut so much out, but I want to keep as much as I can in. Um because in other forms, in all my other creations, I am so I try to be so polished and like hold myself to such a standard, and I try to be so perfectionistic that that's it delays, it delays projects for so long. And sometimes I feel like I either lose interest, or I feel like the time to post this has passed, and like ideas just get scrapped, and part of me hates that. um let me try to reel it back to mental health and what I think a thought process of what I was trying to say. um well, first I want to apologize if this part, or if this whole thing is just not entertaining at all. um a lot of what I'm doing is selfishly for me to document me as I am right now in this moment in time, and to be able to show that to, again, who I addressed in the beginning: friends and family, strangers and acquaintances, my future children, and my future self. So, okay, let's try to get back on track to mental health. Um, yeah, having a partner like Lex just she makes me feel comfortable to a point where I can be vulnerable, and being able to be vulnerable has really helped me learn more about myself mentally. Um, like, for example, something like I have made a connection to, or I have realized, is that I have some trauma. I get very triggered if I don't feel considered. Um, and I think, well, a lot, if not all, really just ties back to my parents, how I grew up, and especially my mom. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching, but I don't think you are yet. I still don't think you know what a podcast is or how to access it. But um, don't no one go snitching, all right? I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think it's stemmed a lot from them. I'm also this will all connect. I'm also very protective of my free time. And that is probably a result of not feeling considered, because I feel like many times growing up, I didn't feel like I had a lot of free time, and that's what I wanted. And there are times where, like, something as simple as like a grocery trip, like, I wouldn't want to go on because like that was cutting into like my free time, but like I wasn't like given a say in whether or not I could go. And like I don't know, I that has somehow like transferred into like adulthood, to where like I very much want to be in control of my time, to the point where like a concrete example is my main source of income is door dashing. It's my DoorDash mask. And I like dashing because, one, the area I live in is pretty great for dashing. But two, it gives me a lot of control over my free time. I'm lucky enough to be able to schedule my own hours. And if something comes up, some creative opportunity comes up, or I'm not feeling as well, whether mentally or physically, I have the option to just be like, okay, I'm not going to work today. And I don't have to call in to any boss or anything. And I like that. It is a double-edged sword, because being your own boss, that's something I wanted, and I thought I could handle the part where it's like, okay, well, but you've got to like, you know, push yourself when things are hard. You got to be your own boss. And I was like, yeah. I got it. I can do that. Um, I think I unfairly like diminished how hard that actually is. Um, yeah, it's tough. Because again, this I'm gonna tie this back with my parents. Like they were like strict, and like, well, they were strict-ish. My mom, especially. My dad was the lenient one, and I they tried to like discipline me, and I hated that. And so in turn, like, I hate being disciplined with myself, even though I know I have to sometimes. And that's the tricky part with being your own boss. Um anyway, I think I've derailed again. Not gonna lie, I knew this was coming, but I want so badly right now. I wished I had scripted my thoughts out better. But I knew this was coming, and I knew this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to speak a little bit more off the cuff. Um, and I have to be okay that it's not going to be perfect. I have to be okay that, there's going to be things I wish I could have said, and I could have said better, and things I'm just going to forget. But, it's okay. This isn't the last podcast episode. No, no. Um, no, there'll be plenty more to come. I love doing this, as long as I have the time. It's editing that like kills me, because I'm cutting out dead space. I'm fixing like ums, oohs, and ahs. And I know I don't have to do that, but like I want to, and that's like the perfectionist in me. But like, at least for this, I wanted it to be a little bit more raw and like intimate. Um, but I'm going to reset the camera real quick. Hold on. And we are back with the magic of movie editing. I guess, no. I guess let's wrap things up. 2022 to 2023, when I was 27, was a great year, as all. I want to edit that out. I want to take that again, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep that in. 27 years old. I had a great time. And I look forward to what 28 brings. Um, if I could tell my future self something that I would want to remember about being 27, is that I guess something that's jumping out immediately is how much I've recuperated as far as like my knee goes. I briefly mentioned that I tore my ACL in 2020, found out or got surgery for it only to find out that it was actually partially torn. And while I was undergoing surgery, they did some um not balance tests, what stability tests to see how stable my knee was, especially when I was knocked out. I was under anesthesia, so it's not like I could like resist them testing it, and they found that it was stable enough to where they didn't have to reconstruct the ACL. So but I still had to go through physical therapy to regain motion, regain strength, especially like in my quad area. And I still go now to the gym to like just work out my knee, kind of rehab it, and just get it strong again. And I'm very proud of myself for going through that, especially because I'm at a point in with volleyball at least where I don't think I'm back to where I was pre-injury, but I'm at a point where I don't I it's like I have forgotten that like my knee is even injured at all. I feel normal. I'm barely afraid to jump now, but I am definitely more conscious with landing. But I'm very happy that you know um I have my physicality back. And this is like not even like the first year. Like this is like the second year after getting or like after the surgery. But I'm getting stronger every year, and I guess I'm proud of that. Um, I kind of want to touch on something with since I went the physical route. I want to talk about my mental health as well. Even though like that's just I've just gone on such a rambled mess. But I guess talking to my future self, something I want to something that I would want to remember about my mental health is I gotta think about that. I guess maybe like take the time you need. Um, but I guess always like remember to like come back to Lex. Um, because something about her and I like I I when I get upset I shut down and I process things very much internally, and she's not like that. She processes things externally through talking it out. And I think the way I grew up, because I didn't really have anyone to talk to. I learned from a very early age that my parents were not very emotionally intelligent, and I couldn't trust them with my emotions. That like I had to process everything just by myself. So it's very unnatural for me to talk my feelings out before I've had the adequate time to process them. But I guess just remember to always come back to Lex, because just remember how much you love her. I love you very much, Lex. So, I think I've rambled enough. Part of me already hates this, but that might be a good sign. So, happy 28th birthday to me. Happy second birthday to Juandering. We are officially in our second season. And hopefully the next episode is going to be back to the Twilight reactions. Like I said, we have Eclipse already recorded. Hopefully that'll be the next one to come out. And I want to thank everyone who has ever stopped to listen even for a moment to the podcast, because I'll end on this. Something I'm very proud of as far as the podcast goes is that I have made this a space where I am comfortable being uncomfortable. You know? This is where I want to talk freely and not censor myself, basically. Obviously, if I'm talking about a story with specific people and I don't necessarily have permission to give their names out, or even if that might not be a good move, I won't obviously disclose that information. But I'm gonna be who I want to be, and I'm going to express myself here. This is where I am going to speak my mind. So I don't want to have the attitude where it's if you don't like it, you can leave, because I feel like that's a little harsh, and I want to be as inclusive as possible, because that's my beliefs stem heavily from that inclusivity. People of all races, of all genders, of all religions, of all backgrounds. I just want to be inclusive. I want to be supportive. I want to be empathetic. I think that's the legacy I want to leave behind. Being someone that was inclusive and empathetic. Anyway, okay. I'm going to stop myself here now. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Until next time, keep wondering, and go all in.